As a child, the colour red became a symbol of resistance for Andrew Aiden. But there was nothing he could do to stop the abuse he suffered within the Anglican Church in South Australia.
I've chosen to pursue civil litigation against the Anglican Church. It has always been my view. It will always be my view. It is the only language that churches and other institutions understand.
It's now been 2 years since the National Redress Scheme came into effect. Most institutions named during the Royal Commission into institutional child abuse have signed on or indicated a willingness to do so. They include Anglican, Catholic, Baptist and Uniting Church organisations, as well as Scouts Australia and now Swimming Australia.
I'll name those institutions that have refused to join. And as part of that, I will also be announcing the actions that the federal government intends to take.
More than 2,500 compensation payments have already been made, totalling more than $200 million. But abuse survivors and their lawyers say the scheme is urgently in need of an overhaul. They say compensation payouts are too low. It's not clear who's assessing the applications or the guidelines they're relying on, and there's no way for decisions to be independently reviewed. Judy Corton says the $150,000 cap on compensation should be almost tripled.
Unless a child was penetrated by the offender, they will be lucky to get $45,000 or $50,000.
The government says the scheme is currently under review. James Hancock, ABC News.
Well, this morning, Joe, the government named 6 institutions that have defied calls to join the National Redress Scheme. They include the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Australian Air League, Boys Brigade New South Wales, Fairbridge Restored, Lakes Entrance Pony Club and Kenja Communications. The Social Services Minister this morning also confirmed that they will no longer be eligible for any future Commonwealth funding. The government is also looking at ways to revoke tax concessions that they have through their charitable status. Now, the scheme was established after the Royal Commission into Child Sexual Abuse as a way of compensating survivors and victims for the abuse and trauma that they suffered. The Minister says that there are 55 applications from survivors against these 6 institutions that are now on hold because they've failed to join the scheme. Speaking this morning on AM, she urged them to reconsider their decision.
Think about the reputational damage by you saying as an organisation that despite having a history of working with children, despite having applications against your organisation for child sexual abuse, you still refuse to accept your moral obligation and responsibility to come forward and allow these people the small thing of a bit of redress and a small amount of money to acknowledge that they actually have had wrongs committed against them. I don't understand how any organisation can take that kind of course of action.
Now, as of last week, the scheme had received a total of 7,200 applications. More than 2,600 payments have been made, totalling more than $220 million.